I mean, it's brilliant, really, isn't it?
When the Greenhalghs were brought to trial, it was the end of a 17-year run that had seen them take in some of the world's top art dealers, auction houses, and museums. At the last minute, Sean's parents, who'd always denied any wrongdoing, changed their plea to guilty.
In court, it was evident from the prosecution that George was very much the brains of the outfit. He was described as the salesman, that he had ideas tied to those pieces of provenance that he had acquired or manufactured, and that Sean was sent away to make the corresponding artefact in the garden shed, as it was described. That seems to imply that that was very much the case, that Sean pretty much did. He was the man with the talent, but he did as he was told.
Sean had said that the forgeries were his idea all along, and George's defence claimed that when he sold the fakes, he was simply following orders.
George was a fantasist in my mind. He had created these stories for the objects, but he also had told great stories himself. He was saying that his grandmother had owned an art gallery. He was saying that people in his family knew Lowry, they knew Gauguin, they knew everybody. He had a huge collection of medals that he'd been presented, and we found letters that he'd written to various countries describing his actions during the war and asking for the presentation of medals that he had not got. And I mean, I just believe that there was too many medals there for any one person to possibly have acquired. From just about every campaign in the Second World War, George Greenhalgh had a medal.
To the best of my remembrance, the last time just before he was sentenced, he said something like, Judge Morris asked him if he could hear, and he said, "No, not really, because I've got 2 bullets in my head and 1 in my spine from the Italian campaign."
Would you like to know where George Greenhalgh did spend his war years?
If you told me he spent his war years in a kitchen in Catterick, I wouldn't be surprised, but yes, please do tell me.
He spent them in prison.
Oh.
As a deserter.
So he actually was called up or joined up and then deserted subsequently? And he spent the whole of the 6-year period in prison? I'm astonished.
Are you?
Well, I suppose I am and I'm not, in a way. It fits in with the rest of the pattern, doesn't it?
The judge said that he wanted to give George a custodial sentence, but because of his age and apparent disability, no prison in Britain could take him.
What do you think about what happened?
There'll be something done about it, don't worry.
Could it be that George has had the last laugh, having fooled not just the experts, but also the judicial system?
Oh, he was never in a wheelchair for a court case. That was the only time I ever saw him in a wheelchair.
What did you think when you saw that?
Well, the mind boggles, isn't it?
George and Olive are now back at home in Bolton. Since their return, the family has destroyed Sean's shed, the workshop where he'd made the fakes that had beguiled the world. For his efforts, Sean got 4.5 years in prison.
It's tempting for people, looking at this story now, finding out what went on here, to say to themselves, well, the art world, a bunch of cocky, stuck-up know-alls, but they don't know, and isn't it great this bloke pulled a fast one on them, and they're fools for falling for it. So I don't think the art world should be blamed in any way for falling for it. A far, far fairer thing to do here is to praise this man, for this world-class forgery he's pulled off. Sean Greenhalgh up there in Bolton, I salute you.
I propose a toast
to the greenhouses.
Good health to him.
How much more did he do? We don't know, do we? And it's good on him, really. It amuses me to think that there are people now gazing in on some exhibition, looking at some of his stuff, thinking that they're genuine. Yeah, knocked up on the
Top of the screen, it's unbelievable.
Carry on carving.
Yeah, carry on carving.